I think we've spoken already about what Liverpool might do and might want to do. They'll take a similar strategy to previous Januaries where they wait and see if anything arises. But with the Joe Gomez injury against West Ham, feels to me, Gomez isn't an absolute first name on the team sheet type of player, but he's another body at centre back. And it feels like, certainly in defence, more so than anywhere else, Liverpool at a few times this season have been maybe one injury away from being in real trouble. Where, Konate, I know he's coming back soon, but like one more body in there would be useful. Do you feel that first half of the season, not just the Joe Gomez injury specifically, but that first half of the season and being maybe that close to a potential real problem if you had one more injury, will that convince them to maybe bolster and just get another body in, even if it's not someone who would go straight into the starting lineup?
I think defence is definitely an area they've been looking at for a while, and I think it's something, you look at Lenny Yoro over the summer, he's a player they kind of liked, but as soon as Man United were coming in at those kind of figures, they thought it wasn't the right move for them, and I think they've been proven right in that sense, in terms of performances and the fact that Yoro got injured and we wouldn't have seen much of him at all. So I think that was the right move at the time, but it's definitely an area they're kind of looking at. I think one thing that might dissuade them from doing any business there in January is the fact that the timing of the Gomez injury hasn't been too bad. I mean, we don't know about the extent. You think it's probably going to be on the lesser side, hopefully. Maybe just a pull of some sort. We'll kind of see maybe 3 or 4 weeks, but we'll kind of see how that one plays out. But I guess, in terms of timing, as I say, I mean, Konate and Conor Bradley, by my understanding, at least had a chance to be maybe in training this week. So, they're getting quite close. So again, that's two positions that Gomez fills, isn't it? Right back and centre back. Obviously, Kostas Tsimikas is back now at left back, so looking fairly strong there. I thought Jarell Quansah did a good job when he came in. So I don't think that they'll feel that it's so light in defence now that they would have to go out and do something in January. I think if they do anything in January in defence, it would only be a signing that they're going to make in the summer. And by the way, that could be a centre half, because I think it's clearly acknowledged at Liverpool now that Joe Gomez will leave this summer. I think that's the big expectation. So they could look to get ahead of that and get someone in. But I don't think anything kind of short term will be done where it's, they're worried about the Gomez injury and therefore will dip into the market. That would really surprise me, because it doesn't really tally with how Liverpool tend to do things. And as I say, they have been kind of fortunate on the timing in terms of some players coming back now.
Yeah, it just feels to me like that is maybe the one thing left that could derail Liverpool's season if they get a shortage at centre-back and two get injured for the rest of the season or something like that. So it'd be more of a preventative one. But yeah, as you said, I don't think they're going to suddenly change their transfer policy, which has worked so well for them. In terms of short-term ones, Chiesa came in the summer, obviously. There's now been talk that he wants to leave. That potential loan exit could be on the cards. Can we look into that at all? Would that make any sense for Liverpool?
I'd be surprised, if I'm honest, just on the basis that I know that they are working quite hard to get him fit. Obviously, it's been disappointing what we've seen. Well, the very little that we've seen from him so far, and obviously he's just struggled to kind of get fit and adapt to that after missing pre-season, and then he's had a few niggling injuries since he's been at Liverpool. But they've put a lot of work into trying to get him fit. So the idea of doing that and then sending him elsewhere where he's not being adapted to the club and life in England and the team that he's working with, I'd be really surprised by that. And I do wonder whether that's just kind of one of those where, maybe a bit of reading in between the lines and seeing that he's not playing very much. Therefore, maybe he'll be desperate to leave. I think Liverpool is still keen to get him fit and see what he's about. And there are opportunities coming up as well now if he can get him fit. You look at that Accrington game in the FA Cup, the League Cup doubleheader against Tottenham. These are games where he could get opportunities. So I'd like to think he's going to be around for those. And I'd be surprised if he's jettisoned. And again, if he was, it wouldn't be a great look for the sporting director, would it? As kind of one of his first big signings, didn't really work out. So yeah, I'd be surprised if he goes anywhere in January, to be honest.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be too much logic in it, because it would weaken the Liverpool squad, even though we haven't seen much of him. The prospect of seeing more of him in the second half would give us another option, would strengthen that squad that has been so good in the first half of the season. So it doesn't seem too much logic in it from that point of view for me either.
Yeah, there's just going to be enough games there where they do need him. And, the fact is, if you send a Chiesa out on loan and then the Tottenham game comes around and all of a sudden you're thinking, oh, well, actually, do I have to play Harvey Elliott on the right wing where he's not that comfortable and that's not good minutes for him, and I'd rather him be in central midfield allowing, say, Szoboszlai to rest or whatever. as you say, it would just weaken the squad for what is an incredibly busy period. I mean, and again, the only kind of argument against that is that, well, okay, well, he might be injured at that point, but then if he's injured, he isn't going on loan anyway. So you just might as well keep him around. And as I say, I've had no kind of indication that there's truth to that. So, it will be a big surprise if he was to go anywhere.